Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. Now, we've all heard of the Unforgivable Curses, 3 of the most forbidden and dangerous spells in the wizarding world. Casting any of these, whether it's the Cruciatus Curse, the Imperius Curse, or the Killing Curse, is considered such a heinous crime that it's punishable by a life sentence in Azkaban. But this got me thinking, what other acts in the wizarding world can earn you a sentence to Azkaban? Beyond using the Unforgivable Curses, there are plenty of other crimes that fall under wizarding law, many of which have their own set of consequences. But not all of them have sentences so severe. In many cases, these more minor crimes are given less severe punishments like fines, community service, warnings, and even probation. For example, Arthur Weasley was penalised 50 galleons for the Flying Ford Anglia, the official charge being bewitching a Muggle car. Today I want to take a closer look at some passages from the books which reveal the crimes that can get you sent to Azkaban, taking a look at specific examples and incidents. Beyond the situations listed in this video, there are a number of other crimes that can get you in trouble, land you in Azkaban. But for today, I want to hone in on the specific examples mentioned in the books. I also made a video in the past with a more generalized view on wizarding laws as a whole, so if you're interested in that, I'll link it in the description below. Anyway, let's dive in. Defying the Ministry of Magic. As it turns out, defying the Ministry of Magic, Britain's governing body for all things magical, is a crime in and of itself. This crime is in a bit of a grey area because it isn't easily defined. Nonetheless, this crime is referenced by Arthur Weasley in the Order of the Phoenix when discussing Dumbledore. But Dumbledore says he doesn't care what they do as long as they don't take him off the chocolate frog card, said Bill, grinning. It's no laughing matter, said Mr. Weasley sharply. If he carries on defying the Ministry like this, he could end up in Azkaban, and the last thing we want is to have Dumbledore locked up. In this instance, Dumbledore was merely protesting the Ministry's denial of the fact that Voldemort had returned. Dumbledore's actions were seen as defiance because he consistently spoke the truth, rallied support against Voldemort, and refused to let the Ministry control or silence him. Trespassing and attempted robbery. In the Order of the Phoenix, it's revealed that Sturgis Podmore was convicted and sentenced to 6 months in Azkaban for trespassing and attempted robbery. The article in the Daily Prophet says he was convicted on both charges, which means that, just like in the Muggle world, trespassing and attempted robbery are charges that can earn jail time. No surprises there. Sturgis Podmore, 38, of number 2 Laburnum Gardens, Clapham, has appeared in front of the Wizengamot, charged with trespass and attempted robbery at the Ministry of Magic on the 31st of August. Podmore was arrested by Ministry of Magic watch wizard Eric Munch, who found him attempting to force his way through a top security door at 1 o'clock in the morning. Podmore, who refused to speak in his own defense, was convicted on both charges and sentenced to 6 months in Azkaban. Illegally enchanting objects, Muggle baiting. Unsurprisingly, wizarding law forbids witches and wizards from magically tampering with objects that are used by Muggles. Presumably there are a number of reasons for this, but I suspect the largest concern in the eyes of the Ministry is a breach of the International Statute of Secrecy. Willie Widdershins, a wizard known for repeatedly engaging in Muggle baiting pranks, was first arrested for enchanting toilets to explode. I was just reading about Willie Widdershins' arrest when you arrived. You know Willie turned out to be behind those regurgitating toilets back in the summer? One of his jinxes backfired, the toilet exploded, and they found him lying unconscious in the wreckage, covered from head to foot in... But that wasn't all Willie was responsible for, as he was later caught committing another crime, selling Muggle-biting doorknobs. "George, be quiet," snapped Mrs. Weasley. "Anyway," said Mr. Weasley in a raised voice, "this time Willie's been caught selling biting doorknobs to Muggles. And I don't think he'll be able to worm his way out of it because, according to this article, 2 Muggles have lost fingers and are now in St. Mungo's for emergency bone regrowth and memory modification. Just think of it, Muggles in St. Mungo's. I wonder which ward they're in. Attacking Muggles. This one isn't overly complicated. You simply can't attack Muggles. Not only do you risk harming them, but you also potentially risk exposing the wizarding community. It also requires a great deal of damage control for the Ministry. In the series, both Morphin and Marvolo Gaunt were charged with attacking Muggles. Ogden apparated back to the Ministry and returned with reinforcements within 15 minutes. Morphin and his father attempted to fight, but both were overpowered, removed from the cottage, and subsequently convicted by the Wizengamot. Morphin, who already had a record of Muggle attacks, was sentenced to 3 years in Azkaban. Marvolo, who had injured several Ministry employees in addition to Ogden, received 6 months. We also know that Percival Dumbledore, Dumbledore's father, is also sentenced to Azkaban for attacking Muggles after his daughter was attacked. Scarcely a year previously, his father, Percival, had been convicted of a savage and well-publicized attack upon 3 young Muggles. Albus never attempted to deny that his father, who was to die in Azkaban, had committed this crime. On the contrary, when I plucked up courage to ask him, he assured me that he knew his father to be guilty. Unsurprisingly, murdering Muggles is also not allowed, something which Morfin admitted to. So the Ministry called upon Morfin. They did not need to question him, to use veritaserum or legitimacy. He admitted to the murder on the spot, giving details only the murderer could know. He was proud, he said, to have killed the Muggles, had been awaiting his chance all these years. He handed over his wand, which was proved at once to have been used to kill the Riddles, and he permitted himself to be led off to Azkaban without a fight. Burglary. Just like in our own world, burglary is disallowed. However, it seems like the punishment for standard burglary is a lot more intense in the wizarding world. This is proven by the fact that Mundungus Fletcher was sent to Azkaban after committing this crime. At the time of the burglary, Mundungus also happened to be impersonating an Imperius, but it's unclear if this worsened his punishment or not. Yes, said Hermione, causing both Harry and Ron to gag on their breakfast. But it's alright, he's not dead. It's Mundungus. He's been arrested and sent to Azkaban. Something to do with impersonating an Imperius during an attempted burglary. Dragon breeding. There are plenty of crimes in the wizarding world related to illegal breeding, including Newt Scamander's ban on experimental breeding, which forbade the creation of new dangerous magical creatures in Britain. However, one creature that has been explicitly banned from breeding, and has been for a long time, is the dragon, a crime that was outlawed by the Warlocks Convention of 1709. Hagrid's always wanted a dragon. He told me so the first time I ever met him. But it's against our laws. Dragon breeding was outlawed by the Warlocks Convention of 1709. Everyone knows that. It's hard to stop Muggles from noticing us if we're keeping dragons in the back garden. Anyway, you can't tame dragons. It's dangerous. It appears as though the primary motivation behind banning dragon breeding is maintaining the international statute of secrecy. And this actually makes a lot of sense if we consider that this law was passed just a few decades after the statute itself was passed. The Animagus registry. An Animagus refers to a witch or wizard who is able to transform into an animal form at will. This is an exceptional ability achieved by very few, but with the knowledge of this unique ability comes the responsibility of registering your Animagus status with the Ministry of Magic. This registration includes revealing one's animal form and one's distinguishing markings. The primary reason for registration is to ensure the Animagi do not abuse their abilities, as the Ministry is able to keep track of them. In the books, Hermione threatens to expose Rita Skeeter's unregistered status and alludes to the punishment for such a crime. Well, yes, said Hermione calmly, taking a sip of her drink. Otherwise, as you very well know, I will inform the authorities that you are an unregistered Animagus. Of course, the Prophet might give you rather a lot for an insider's account of life in Azkaban, having your creature attack Hogwarts students. Another unsurprising one, it is not okay for you to set your dangerous pet on fellow Hogwarts students. Hagrid learned this the hard way, though he was technically framed, when he was sent to Azkaban and accused of letting Aragog attack his fellow Hogwarts students. We know that in actuality it was Tom Riddle and Salazar Slytherin's basilisk that were responsible, but Hagrid was framed nonetheless. They think, up at the school, that Hagrid's been setting a something on students. They've taken him to Azkaban. And that concludes my list of crimes mentioned in the books that can get you sent straight to Azkaban. If I missed any non-obvious ones, then let me know down in the comment section below. Also be sure to check out my video on all wizarding laws for a more comprehensive understanding of what you can and can't do in the wizarding world. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams and forget to live